With Halloween around the corner, one can't help but think about graves. Uplifting thoughts, right? But before we get to graves, one small relevant sidetrack. So if you think about it, by rights, the good old English suffix y means like and turns everything with it into an adjective, right? English is nothing if not pure and cogent that way. So adding a y suffix to beef begets beefy, a lovely adjective somehow describing cows, Russian weightlifters, and still with room left over for a sweaty-palmed handshake from Sal, the used car dealer reassuring you the clunking you're hearing in that '07 Pontiac is a safety feature. And similarly, taking that y suffix off a word like smarty lets you know clearly the original word. Just like happy and silly. Well, let's skip those. But back at the word grave. Grave, of course, is an in-ground burial plot for a loved one. And so adding that y suffix turns all your dearly departed into gravy, right? Also the reason why we don't talk about Uncle Gary's urn anymore. Hey, before you forget, please like, subscribe, and comment. It helps drive great content. Okay, I'm man enough to admit that there seems to be a bit of a breakdown in our logic. It appears that, just perhaps, English isn't quite the well-oiled machine some of us had hoped it would be. Digging a bit deeper into this gravelicious mystery, metaphorically, no actual dirt clumps here, I found that, well, would you believe the word gravy has nothing to do with graves? But it is a bit of a saucy mess. So here's the thing. The word is primarily attributed to Old French grave, a spiced broth or sauce made from meat drippings, which entered English in the 14th century, often spelled gravy, gravy, or greavy. Medieval spelling was basically a free-for-all. But some scholars believe grave may not have been a real word at all, but rather a misreading or mistranscription of granet, a seasoned mixture, a different Old French word thought to be related to grain. Why don't they know for sure? Well, written language 700 to 800 years ago was, let's say, imperfect. Medieval spelling and transcription were basically interpretive dance with ink. Scribes often copied phonetically, misread letters, or swapped terms. And who knows, maybe spouses too. They didn't mention it. And some experts believe this may have happened with grave, but they're pretty sure it came from one of those, or both, but definitely not burial plots, which are universally accepted as gravy-free zones. Speaking of holes in the ground, the word grave comes from Old English grif, or grafu, which as much as it sounds like grief, has nothing to do with that either. It meant cave, trench, or grave, and traces back to Proto-Germanic graba, or grabo, and even back to Proto-Indo-European grieb, meaning to dig, scratch, or scrape. Interestingly, despite both sounding depressing as hell, the word grave, as in solemn, has no direct relation. So with all that in mind this Halloween, I strongly advise against giving gravy to the neighbor kids. It makes a real mess in the old candy bag. Also, maybe don't mention poor Uncle Gary. May he rest in peace. Until next time, happy Halloween, and peace out, my Tangeroonies.